Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Madden Game Man, and we got some more Madden news today. Oh my goodness, got Madden 24 gameplay, the biggest change. Ooh, I can't wait to see what the biggest change is. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I said, this is a year of gaming. This is the year of Madden. This is the year of football, period, because we got the maximum football coming up, and then we got Madden. Come on now. This is the year of Madden. I'm telling you guys, do not sleep on Madden. Do not think, oh, this is just the same game. I got a good feeling about this. A real good feeling that this is not the same game. This is going to be a different one. But before I hop into his reaction, I need you guys to like this video if you want to see more reactions to Madden news, maximum football, whatever. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Let's go, baby. I'm so excited.
In Madden 24, EA has made some significant updates to blocking, and it's one of the biggest gameplay improvements this year.
Yeah, that's why I heard about the blocking
is they did provide me with some exclusive information to further.
Hey, congratulations, man. Sponsored by EA. You gotta love it.
They did provide some information on blocking in their deep dive trailer yesterday and on their website. I was able to talk
check that on my channel too
and get more in-depth information about the changes happening with blocking this year so that I could break it down for you. And if you don't want to miss out on all the further breakdowns I'm going to have coming for Madden 24 every single day, make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on so that you're always up to date with the latest news. Now, while both pass and run blocking are seeing some nice improvements this year, I want to start things off with the run blocking, as that is where some of the more significant changes are, and it's also going to be the most noticeable to you the second you start playing. When speaking with developers, I was told a lot of focus was put on having blockers universally getting to where they need to go quickly. They told me that they did a lot of work with double team engage branchability, and combined with their threat detection improvements, it allows the blockers to get free of double teams much sooner and free to pick up rushers. The issue in previous Maddens was that when a double team animation was triggered, there was really no way to abort the double team when another threat was in the picture. The double team animation had to fully play out before one of the blockers could eventually disengage, and by that time it was often too late, as a free rusher from the second level would be able
100%.
to run through the gap. The difference now is, instead of being stuck in those double team animations, there's new fallback animations.
Look at these pancakes.
Every disengage request is respected, and blockers can leave double teams when they need to. As threats develop around you,
that's gonna be big for running this year. That's gonna be big.
Unpredictable. This change helps a lot, as the blockers will consistently target these threats better than in years past, which opens up running lanes that were otherwise not always there before. You'll notice blockers get to the second level much more consistently in Madden 24 by peeling off their double teams when necessary. Blockers also now do a much better job at chipping through traffic to get to their targets instead of getting hung up on existing one-on-one blocks. And this is
I like
one of those small changes that actually makes a pretty significant difference once you start to notice it. And of course, this doesn't mean that they're never still going to get hung up sometimes or get caught up in the traffic.
Yeah, that's true.
It is Madden. We're still going to see that sometimes.
It's a game
as much as you did before. The next big
that's a good thing
that has been much improved is the open field targeting and overall blocker locomotion. Blockers now get to where they need to go more smoothly, and they're actually taking a less is more approach. They're focused on taking steady destinations to the nearest threat and locking onto him instead of trying to account for multiple.
That's gonna be big on screen passes. I can already see it. Screen passes is gonna be OD this year
on the field, which caused a lot of target switching for blockers. By changing targets way too often, this would lead to indecisive behavior on the field, and thus they'd sometimes block nobody, and we've all seen this happen a ton throughout the years playing
definitely.
Now what they'll do is filter out the most dangerous defenders in front of them unless somebody literally crosses right in front of their face. Otherwise, they go steady ahead downfield and they'll lock on to the nearest threat, which allows you as a runner to confidently follow behind.
I like that.
The devs also specifically told me that they are not saying the open field blockers will never miss a block or never make the wrong decision or never just have those wonky moments that we've come to see in Madden pretty often, but they will definitely be consistently better than they have before, and they will be easier to read as a ball carrier so that you know where you need to go.
That's all you can ask for, more consistency. Like when you see the animations, it's not going to fix it 100% because it's a video game.
Locomotion improvements are especially noticeable when it comes to pulling blockers. While this is still an area that can use further improvements, it's absolutely better than it has been. Pulling blockers get to their targets more urgently, and because they're looking to lock on to the nearest,
I ain't gonna lie to you, the pitch Pitch play is one of my favorite plays from running Madden, so this is going to be huge if they can fix this.
Other defenders who are shedding their blocks, so even if your pulling blocker has a completely different target in his sights, he'll still help out more often on his way there if necessary.
Okay.
This makes run plays like power O's, for example, feel so much better than in years past. All these changes here also help out a lot in the passing game, especially with screenplays, as your pulling blockers are able to use all of these.
Look at that. God damn, get on your ass, young man.
Lead the way for you to pick up yards. Wide receivers and tight ends will also be better more consistently with blocking after the catch. Again, the dev team does acknowledge that there's still more opportunity to improve here specifically, as you'll still see some bugs from time to time with open field blocking, but they're confident that they have made good strides in this department for Madden 24. Now, of course, if you know me, you know that I had to ask the devs about certain defensive formations, such as dollar being much better versus the run than it should be, especially when you take into account that online players like to sub in those smaller safeties at their linebacker positions who should be weaker versus the run. They told me that they put a heavy focus this year on respecting weight discrepancies between players, so smaller players get punished more often all over the field. In addition,
I like that.
The impact and pancake block tuning in the open field, so you'll now see those impact blocks winning more often. Another important thing to note is that all global double team changes that we went over earlier will help against these formations a bit more. Unintuitively, with double teams being as sticky as they were last year, sometimes having a numbers advantage in the run game last year could actually feel like a negative. If there is a three-man front that causes two separate blockers to both be stuck in animations with no way to leave and pick up free rushers, that is a problem. They told me that the double team improvements really set them up to reverse this and make doubles consistently more useful, as they can now branch out of those double teams faster and get to the second level defenders. Now, only time will tell if the pros can still figure out a way to make dollar defense viable versus the run.
They probably will, but I think it's going to be a lot harder.
There at least being more balance here. Speaking of pancake blocks,
that's what you want, more balance.
We've seen them highlighted in both trailers so far, so clearly this is something that EA wants us to know about.
Brutal, boy.
Pancake blocks will trigger more often in the open field, especially versus smaller defenders. Pulling blockers are also more conservative when they attempt these versus larger defenders, so they will play normal run blocks versus potentially bad matchups, but get more aggressive and try to pancake when they have an advantage.
Look at these pancakes, man.
The more DBs you put,
this ain't even fair.
Pancakes you should see, as those smaller defenders
that's gonna be epic.
Trent Williams or Quentin Nelson, for example. But they won't attempt to flatline guys like Aaron Donald or Dexter Lawrence, as that will likely put them in a position to be easily shedded. They'll instead just try to hold them off long enough for you to get by.
I like that. I like that right there. It's all about the weight. I like what he said, that Aaron Donald is not going to be getting pancake. I mean, come on, ain't nobody pancaking that man.
And shed attempts. Momentum is not a larger factor in win chances, I was told. However, it is a large factor in animation selection. So the blocking animations that trigger are more appropriate for the individual player's speed going into the animation. This will lead to a lot less moments as a user defender where you feel like you're getting sucked into a block. Ratings still play the largest role here, and abilities will obviously give you an extra boost, but the weight factor has been the biggest change here overall. If you have a pretty significant weight advantage this year, you can expect to see more impact and pancake blocks happening. Now, with all that said about running, I know most people are expecting an overpowered run game for Madden 24. I'm also wondering if that'll be the case myself, and I've already predicted that this could be a thing. I can definitely see this being
I think this definitely gonna be a running year in my opinion.
Blocking is. But it's also worth noting, to help counter this, EA has finally implemented adaptive AI for the run defense in Madden 24. Now, if you use the same one concept repeatedly throughout the course of the game,
I heard about this. I like this change right here.
This will apply versus the computer.
You can't just use the same 4 plays
versus user games. You'll notice this year defenders will make read steps to try and diagnose the play as it starts. But if a team is running the same play out of the same formation, there is going to be a tell to the defense this year. Once the defense keys in on this, defenders will play their run fit and start hitting their gap as soon as the ball is snapped, instead instead of making their read steps because they already know what you're doing. Only time will tell how well this works once everybody has their hands on the game. You always have to expect that somebody's going to find the more powerful run or a way to get around this, and I imagine adaptive AI will definitely be something that needs tweaking and tuning as different metas come into play.
Yeah,
this can help
I think it's going to be something that's going to be updated throughout the year.
A much welcome change for many people. Moving on to pass blocking, the
especially playing against CPU,
is what was being done to help combat the edge pressure from blitzing DBs. We saw the dollar defense be a pain to block last year, and also other edge pressure in general. I wanted to know if the linemen would now better recognize and pick up these outside blitzers when appropriate. I was told from the developers that it's less that they recognize it better, but more that they are able to get where they need to go. They did fix a few issues where the linemen were not regarding a rusher defender as a threat soon enough to pick them up, mostly surfaced around users stacking behind linemen and shooting gaps, but the larger focus was on being more dynamic and how they matched and branched in and out of animations. Because the majority of the time the issue was not that the blocker didn't recognize the threat, he just wasn't able to effectively get to the free rusher. In order to improve their ability to get where they need to go, EA improved things like the locomotion and the double team branch ability that I spoke about earlier in this video. New pass block strafe local animations allow faster moving strafes out of the pass block stances. Blockers should be more effective covering ground this year and look better doing it. Blockers are also able to match double team animations and pass blocking more effectively as well, which reduces cases.
If it's done right, it's gonna be really fun.
Animation and not
it's gonna be really good.
This then allows for the double team branching to kick in, which lets the nearest blocker.
I wonder how it's gonna be against the CPU though.
Rusher. This doesn't mean that
that's gonna be interesting
and that edge pressure won't still be a thing, but it shouldn't be as hard to block as it was last year. Also, if the numbers are in the defense's favor, free rushers will still come in where it makes sense. They also said that these locomotion changes should help out a bit with different contain style blitzes that people like to cook up. Contains have often been a glitchy way to create unblockable pressure at times in Madden, but the locomotion changes should help blockers be able to engage with these offenders more consistently than before. I also asked about loop blitzes, which have been a thing on and off in Madden for years. Looping can be a realistic way to generate pressure, but we've also seen times where it was way too consistent and unrealistic. They said that all of the changes we've already discussed, such as locomotion, better threat detection, and double team branching, should make it to where you won't see looping be as dominant as it once was, as they can now recognize the loopers and actually detect them and take them out of the play. The next thing I wanted to find out about was halfback blocking. This is an area that I've complained about personally a ton over the years, and it just has not been great in Madden for a while.
Halfback blocking.
The halfback is such an important part of pass protection.
That is true.
That there were some problematic
but I won't never really use the halfback
in Madden spot to pick up anything but interior threats. This is why blocking halfbacks would often be useless versus these outside blitzes that we talked about. The devs said that they have fixed some of those issues and put halfbacks in better spots to pick up any defender that might come through. The better destinations and threat detection that we talked about multiple times in this video will help with those outside blitzers. This should be especially true when using the ID the mic feature as well. However, the devs did say that they do still expect this to be an issue on a number of plays, and they'll continue to hammer away on it versus those specific cases. So what I kind of gather from all this is halfback blocking is definitely still an area that they need to further improve on, but it should at least be hopefully a little bit better. As long as they're not immediately sucking to the inside and only paying attention to free rushers between the numbers, and they can make an effort to get to the outside to pick up edge heat, that should definitely help in blocking that edge pressure.
That would a tremendous amount. I never really thought about it like that, the halfback doing that, but I could see how big it would be if they can fix it or make it even a little bit better.
From being unrealistically dominant pass blockers in Madden to being almost useless last year after changes were made. While I don't think most tight ends should be dominant pass blockers, especially versus elite pass rushers, I think for game balance they need a slight buff. I think tight ends being much weaker last year also contributed to the edge blitzes being
I did not know that.
I was told that there is slight tuning to make tight ends a bit more effective, but it is also capped by the focus on making weight more of a factor. So the heavy elite edge rushers should still do their thing here, but versus smaller defenders, the better tight end should do a much better job. They said that George Kittle was the benchmark for an elite blocking tight end. They said George Kittle in-game wins his blocking engagements more than double what PFF reports.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And while they don't believe he will win as much
George
as
Kittle,
some users may want
he the best blocking tight end in NFL in my opinion.
Real life counterpart, and he is frequently going up against larger defensive ends. But when compared to previous Maddens before last year, these tight ends would win much more than even that. My personal hope hope here is that the better blocking tight ends can hold their own better than they did last year, while just regular tight ends in general can do a better job at helping out with double teams and chip blocking, so that users who do know how to set up proper pass protection will receive the benefits versus people who just want to mindlessly blitz off the edge every single play.
Shout out to him for getting a sponsor with EA. That's, I ain't gonna lie to you, that's a big one right there. But I'm glad he was able to talk to some of the developers on the game. He talked a lot about blocking. I'm not gonna lie to you, screen passes are gonna be OD in this year's Madden. That's one of my favorite plays to call, and it's even getting better. I like the new blocking animation. Instead of it just going free roam, it's actually going to a direct spot and blocking that guy. So you can kind of set up a little bit, get some more running room, do a little juke move here and there. I like that. I think that is going to be big in game. I think people that react to the trailers and stuff don't really think it's gonna be that big, but once you start running them screen passes, get the blitzers, especially the CPU, that's gonna be huge. Especially on like fourth down, it's in the Super Bowl, you need it. You throw a screen, you get a block, next thing you know, you in the end zone. You see? That could be really useful in my opinion. He talked about some more blocking and other stuff. One thing he did mention that I never really thought of was a halfback. I never really used a halfback in Madden. Maybe I'm weird for doing that, but have you guys ever really used a halfback like that in Madden? I've never. The only time I use a halfback is like on halfback runs, and that's just aired so often. If I feel like my running game not really doing well, and it's like in the goal line situation, I do it like that. But other than that, I don't really use a halfback like that. But I'm glad they are improving the blocking in Madden, because I feel like that was one of the biggest things. For me personally, that was one of the biggest things that I did not like in Madden 22. I did not play Madden 23, so I'm not sure how that was. But in Madden 22, the blocking was still a little wonky. And this probably is going to be still a little wonky, but as long as there are improvements and steps forward, hey, I'm all for it. Like I said, this is the year of Madden. This is the year of gaming. That's going to do it for me, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this reaction. Love every single one of you guys. And I'll see you guys in the next one.